My name's Andrew Hale. I'm a member of Sade, have been for 35 years. I'm also a producer and a songwriter, and we're in my studio in London. Well, I joined Sade, I was called the new boy when I joined because they were originally a bigger band called Pride, which split into these kind of two factions, which originally were going to continue at the same time with Pride and Sade together. Sade just kept getting a lot of attention, and eventually it just became that band, which is the point at which I joined, and that was in 1983. In the studio, I often tend to start at the piano because that seems to be, I mean, if you're trying to write a song, that's always the purest way. If something sounds good with basic chord sequences and structures, that's always really useful. But obviously, as you can see, I'm a total gear junkie, so I tend to just get lost in a corner doing, like with a drum beat or something like that, or just a piece of software, or an old synth or something like that, and it's just sonically really what gets me inspired. So sometimes it'll just be a sound, sometimes it'll be a sequence of chords, sometimes it'll be, just a beat, all sorts of ways really. I got into modular about 10 years ago. Stuart in the band actually was doing some music for a film which was all electronic, so he bought a big Dope-fer system, which was really at those early days of Eurorack when really they were the only systems available. And I started to kind of get interested then. I bought a Schweiman S1. I thought, it's kind of semi-modular, it'll kind of get me into it, and started playing around with that. And then, obviously, as that whole scene developed and all these new manufacturers came up, that I started getting more and more modules. Originally, I was trying to approach it like a musician, so I was kind of trying to replicate what I did with synthesizers and using computers with a modular system. And I think I kind of went that was a bit of a blind alley, because I spent a lot of time, kind of getting frustrated, not really understanding what I was doing. Making those kind of patches can take forever, especially if you're trying to do polyphonic stuff. So I kind of changed tack, and now I just like using the modular for either sound design or just beats, really. And yeah, that culminated in me getting buying a system, Roland System 700, which I absolutely love. And yeah, the story about the System 700 was, one, it was completely unobtainable for someone like me when you're young and you're seeing these instruments. You've got to remember these instruments, they're just coming onto the market for the first time. There's never been anything like that before. And it was a really, even now, it's a sort of quite ambitious system, and it cost, the price of a sort of small country. And, God knows, apparently there's 40 of them or something, 40 were made. So, also as a teenager, I'm a huge fan of the Yellow Magic Orchestra and Ryuichi Sakamoto, and sort of seeing how they were using those instruments in a way that was, it had a kind of sense of joy around it and fun as well, as opposed to, the kind of very serious electronic music that was also around. So, and it was very musical, the way Ryuichi plays and his training and as a classical musician and stuff is really great. So I think it's probably from that time I've been secretly coveting the System 700, and yeah, that's why I love it so much, I think. I think my favourite sound module must be a Chemy's Castle. I'm old enough I was around when the whole FM digital synth stuff began, and in fact our first album I got a DX7, which was hugely exciting and new at the time, and everyone was amazed by what it could do. So that was really, really used part of our early songs. And then I think what happened was I kind of went back to being a purist and really loving the Rhodes and analog synths and everything like that. So it's funny, I kind of hated FM for quite a long time, and everything that was similar to that, a lot of the wavetable kind of things and stuff, never really appealed to me. And then, funnily enough, having got a chemies and then just starting to reintroduce my head to FM, I've done a total 360 and I'm sort of buying up all old DX7s again and just kind of loving it.